everything's fitted up, and now we cut the nose. We're gonna use the Dremel. I already started the cut. You can see right there. Very, very slowly, very, very carefully. We're gonna cut down here, and we're gonna keep going until we can get the bend to happen. Then I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side over here. Once that's done, I'll see what kind of bend I get. If there's not enough bend, I'll cut a little bit more. If there's too much, that's a bad thing because then it'll get all floppy on us. So we just want to go a little bit at a time. Once that's done, I'll put in the plastic adhesion filler. That's some crazy chemical stuff. And then that'll hold the shape. We're getting into uncharted territory here, folks. Wish me luck! Well, as is common with all projects, we've hit a snag. In this case, it's a bracket that is sitting right here. This metal piece here is holding the nose on. I didn't realize that it bolted on the top. I thought it bolted on the underneath. Should have checked that, but anyway, it's running all the way along here. Luckily, there's a break in it right over here, so I can bend the nose, but I have to take the grinder right here to it, cause the metal to bend backwards, and then with it bent, we can take the nose piece, and then it'll lean forward for us. So, lots of grinding, and it's a very hot day. I'm sweating. There's a certain magic in the air, or maybe it's just metal filings and I'm a little high, but I got the bracket cut off. I'll show you what that looks like. Came out very nice, cleaned right out. FYI, shout out to Lowe's. Did some crazy price matching and I got this Bosch grinder, just got it. Best grinder I've ever used. It's unbelievable. 6 amps, 11,000 RPM, 4.5 inch, perfect control. So I was able to get right in there, grind that piece right out. It fell in already, so it's gone. After that, I took the Dremel and went back onto the line. As I said, I had to come pretty far. Let me get my camera in position here for you. You know, I'm just going to flip it around. Sorry about that. I can't flip it around. Never mind. Okay, so you can see I grinded pretty far, and then right in here, what I did was, if you've ever used cardboard, ever corrugated some cardboard before, you score it and it bends really easy, but you don't cut all the way through it, right? And it bends on the loose part. That's basically what I did here. So I cut it from here to here. I just dug into it, and I cut about half of it out. So now watch this. See how it bends perfectly? That's exactly what we want. On top of that, the metal here now acts as a perfect stopper so that when I put it against there, it holds. So you can already see we're starting to get the look that we want. What I'm going to do now is I am not going to connect the nose to this piece. As tempting as that is, I'm not going to do that because with it connected, it'll be fused. And when it's fused, the problem you're going to have there is that if you ever hit a bump or anything like that, if you drive a Trans Am, it's pretty much every bump you dislocate your jaw. So it will kind of like separate and want to do stuff like that. So we want to have the nose somewhat floating. So what I'm actually going to do is just tape it down to here for right now to hold it. Then I've got some a plastic adhesive filler sitting around here. It's called Fuser. This is what it looks like. It's made by Lord, and it is really heavy-duty chemical stuff. You're not going to find this on the shelves of Walmart, unfortunately. You're going to have to go down to a auto body industrial supply place and get it. You need a special gun for it, but I found a trick. If you put both your fingers on the end and you press really hard, it'll squirt out. It's a 2-part epoxy, which means that you squirt it onto a cardboard, mix it up till it gets to a consistent color, and then you spread it on. So again, I'm going to take the tape on here to put this down. I'm also going to put some tape under here to build up the shape. Then I'm going to fill it with the plastic. The plastic also acts as like a really expensive body filler, so I'm going to shape it too. That's my plan. Here's what it should look like. Sorry about the lighting. I taped it off so it won't move. Then I squirted part of the tube evenly in, half and half, onto here. Mix it up so it looks like this. It's almost like a smooth peanut butter, really. Anyway, you spread it on, put a heat lamp onto it, shoot that there until it gets hard, and then once it hardens up, actually it's already starting to firm just in the air, so that works good too. But the heat Heat gun usually will do it, but wow, I'm surprised how hard that is. Anyway, that's it. Do the same thing over on this side. Things are looking really nice, but I want to really smooth out that corner there. So to do that, I'm going to show you a trick, and this one's free. If you happen to have a spare bumper from a 1986 Trans Am kicking around like most people do, then you'll notice the curve right here. Here's what you do. You get yourself a ball of clay, and then, so I got a bag of that right here. I'm not going to take it out because it's goopy and a mess. Everybody knows what clay looks like. You take the ball of clay in your hands. Okay, let's pretend that this junk is clay. Okay, you put that in a plastic bag like this. You can see where I had the clay in the bag. Then, you slap the clay on the corner. The clay will mold to the shape of the curve. Then, you slap the bag onto the spot where you want. I should also mention first, you mix up a bunch of hardener and body filler right there. You get your body filler, you slap it on, you slap the clay bag on top, you let it sit for 15 to 30 minutes, you release it, and look at this perfection that you get. It's perfectly a copy of the 86. You sand it down for about an hour, and you get this. Notice how it's got that nice curve there. See how it just flows right in? That is beautifully crisp. After that, gonna block sand it, work this corner nice and smooth. I'm still working on blending this part right here. We got a little bit of rough edges there. But that's gonna take a little bit more filling and sanding and stuff like that. When it's all done, we'll have two of them identical. That's your free tip of the day. Time to talk finishing touches. So, see the line we got going on right there? First of all, what I did was put some extra filler back here so that when the scanner sits, it sits nice and flush to it. Before, there was a gap that kind of made it look like that. Now, it's flush right up against it. That's the first thing. Secondly, to get that curve so that it's perfectly contoured on both sides, we're going to use a tool here called the Contour Finder. You squish it so that the ends of it, or at least one end, are all out like that. Then, take it for a walk. Now I'm going to keep this against here, flat, so that when I get the contour, see how it moves? The pins are all right there. See, it lines up perfectly. Okay, now I flip it, put it over here. Does it match? Yup. That's how you know you got it. Okay, but here's the problem. When I lower the hood, the problem we have is that even though everything is the way that it should be, and then the scanner would obviously go into there, the problem we have is a bit of a sandwich effect. We've got the scanner, the panel, and then the hood. That's messy. So I can tell you that I've measured this out and checked it all, and I thought, oh man, it was something I did. It wasn't. It's just a case of this panel being in the way. So what we're going to do is take a scrap piece of plexiglass, because again, everybody's got this stuff laying around. Spare Trans Am noses and spare pieces of plexiglass. We're going to put it in front of the whole piece, so that basically all you're going to see is nose, plexiglass right there, hood. So I put the piece of plexiglass right on top of the edge, right there where I want. And then I drew a line on the other side. The result is that line right there. So I'm going to take a small skill saw, which I have kicking around. Using that handy dandy Black & Decker matrix again, I'm going to cut right down there. The plexiglass will have a perfect spot to slot in there. I'll stick it against the nose right here, like that. See how it's nice and flush? And then I'll drill a hole right in the back there, and I'll screw into that liquid plastic that we put on previously that's nice and strong. Then we'll have our nice flat piece, and what it'll basically do is it'll carry on the line right across here. It'll go across. This part here will be plexiglass all the way to there. That's the plan. Just get yourself a piece of black tinted plexiglass. It's pretty common in most hardware stores. I just have a scrap piece laying around, so I measured it out. I'm going with 1.5 inches in thickness. So I set up my saw, fire it up, and we're gonna run it through. Nice and easy. I drilled the screw holes, put the screws in just like that. I used the Sharpie to mark up the lines as to where it's going to go, as you can see there, so that when I screwed it, it was pinned in place. And I just basically put pressure against here, screwed it in, and I had my pilot hole, which guided me. And now here's where things get, well, I hope you're... If you're in a public area, lethal! Is that cool or what? Now it's even easier than I thought. Technically, you're gonna love this. All that work on the panel, yeah, we really don't need it. All we basically need to do now is take the scanner, stick it on, and we're done. But oops, we went through the long way and we're gonna make the panel. It's okay, because with the light and the scanner, it's going to be sick, and then as soon as you open up the hood, that's where people are just going to pretty much, well, again, you might want to make sure you for people to see. Anyway, you see that? That is progress. Okay, right here, we got some cracks. That is a combination of sun damage and fallout from this, where the Porsche parked on top of me. So we're gonna work that out, but I sprayed it with some primer just so we can see kind of what the shape is gonna look like. We're doing weird humps and curves and loops and all this kind of stuff, so it's nice to give it a primer. It's all gonna get sanded off eventually anyway, so at this point there's no harm in spraying it. This is the last step we need, and then in a couple days it's going into the paint shop, and I should have it in time for a perfect birthday present. Okay, let's talk mounting. Here's one of the beautiful things. I thought I would need to do a whole bunch of crazy work. Turns out I don't. The 3 10mm screws, metal bolts, whatever you want to call them, that mount the nose to the front clip are perfect mounting brackets. I got brackets here. I think these are about 1.5 inches. Just standard L brackets, galvanized, zinc, whatever you want. And then same here. Now with this one here, this is a little bit bigger one. As you can see, I put a bolt on it with a double washer nut, and it acts as a pressure point to hold the plexiglass in place. Now I've got a tiny little gap here. With that little gap, I'm going to put some black silicone all the way through. That'll keep it nice and sealed and watertight. Okay, the scanner, got a new one. I don't want to talk about how I broke the first one. Anyway, I basically pressurize it between the screw that's holding the plexiglass and the back of the brackets. So it carefully fits in here. It fits in like that, and it pins back against that there. So it sits in there like that. Also, just for this demonstration, I got the wiring just clamped onto the posts of the battery. Red to positive, black to negative. Greens are for the signal lights, and yellow is for the brake light. I'm just going to use the yellow because I don't want to get into too much trouble. We'll take off the temporary stick holding the hood, close it up, and I hope you're ready for this because it's going to get real. Button D on the keypad. And there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, that is how you build Knight Rider. Time for paint. Gino Vannelli had it all wrong. Black cars don't look better in the shade when they twinkle like that. Paint job done. Came out incredible. I am thrilled with the result. You can even see that the plexiglass and everything just fit in beautifully. Next stop, put in the scanner. Let's talk wiring. Once you mount the scanner, you run the wire underneath the assembly for the lights, There's a natural hole there with a bunch of wires and stuff going. Then it goes past the battery. We're gonna mount the little control box right onto the side, right there. On the control box, the wire that goes out to the scanner and the wires that go to the car. Now, for testing purposes, I ran the red and the black ran on my battery, but we obviously can't do that for installation. So I got some tubing, I wrapped it around. Then I'll just open up, expose here what I did here. I put a little extender onto the red and black wires only. And I did that because the yellow here and the greens, as you can see them, are supposed to be for the brake light and for the turn signals respectively. The problem is, when you hook up the yellow to the brake switch, which I did, I don't want to talk about that, it's just going to make me mad. All that it does is it makes the scanner go red. We all know you can't have a red scanner because the cops don't like that. And then the turn signals, well, I'm not even going to bother with that because it's going to make a circus show out of my scanner light. So forget that. Extended black and then spliced it, put a nice little end on it, grounded it. Red, it's going through the firewall. That's a clean installation. Am I right? Of course I'm right. Okay. Now let's go inside the cockles of the Trans Am. In fact, we're talking like below the cockles. We're talking subcockle area. Maybe, I don't know if this is, in human terms, might be the liver, might be the kidneys, might even be the colon. We don't know. Okay. I'm going to go under. So, what you do is your brake switch is like right there. You want to put a load of these little splicers on your pairing device, a coupler, I don't know what it's called. Anyway, you put it so that that red wire that went through the firewall, which is over there, connects in. And by doing so, the scanner light will only come on when the brake light comes on. Again, this is supposed to be wired already because of the yellow light, so we shouldn't even have to be doing this, but just don't follow the instructions, they don't work. Hook red up to brakes, thank me later. And then the result is gonna look like this. Yeah. Lamborghini dolls. Okay, right now, you can see no light, right? Okay. We're gonna put a stick in there, hold on. It's very, very detailed, complex engineering here. We're gonna put a stick on the brake. As you can see on the back end, brake lights are on. Okay. Coming over to the front, and through pure magic, it's not working. And it works! Yep, just that quick. No rage cages and whopper freakouts here. No, it worked. I don't know what happened. Anyway, we did it, everybody. Oh, wait. What am I talking about? We gotta put on the finishing touches. How about that? Oh, wait. Yeah, I kind of broke some plexiglass, so I'll be right back. And then I had to pause for a second to use two hands. Safety first, take that out. Now we will size it up over here. And you might remember I already drilled holes in the back of the fuser right there. So it's ready to go. And we'll just put this in place here. There we go. And it's got a slight bend to it, but nothing too crazy. And this little gap right here is not going to be a big problem because I'm going to fill that with some black silicone, some black automotive silicone. So anyway, when I put it down in place, it seems to look really nice. And now we'll put the scanner in place. Again, just fitting it up really here. There's no screws or anything like that going on. Then we'll take our beautifully fabricated panel, mount it in place. And that's a whole lot of right on. Now, I know you're thinking, finish it off. Finish it off, give us the money shot. Hold on. Okay, here it comes. Lowering the hood. And, oh yeah, it's perfect. That's it, folks. Drill some holes into the plexiglass, screw it down, and we've got us Knight Rider. Thank you so much if you are still watching this epic performance. Not gonna lie, this project is kind of not for the weak of heart. You're gonna have experience with everything. There's bodywork, there's painting, there's fabrication, there's wiring, even a little bit of creativity and imagination. But you know what? This is the kind of stuff we do in our free time. Imagine the kind of cool projects we can do for you. I hope that this will spur some creative ideas for some people, bring back some nostalgia, and maybe just encourage others to chase after their dreams too. Thanks a lot for watching, and remember, Storm Applied Technologies, blown away by imagination.